Good evening, guys. Warm welcome to the program. So, we have been seeing various aspects of warehouse management so far in the last 17 sessions. Today, from this session onwards, the focus will be on inventory management. As you know, most of the time, the inventory planning is done by the planning executive, but when it comes to warehouse, it is to ensure the physical inventory management. Okay, here we are not talking about planning, but here we are taking care of physical inventory. Maybe here, when I say physical inventory, matching the physical stock versus system stock, that is one of the greatest challenge for a supply chain professional or warehouse professional. It may be possible sometime the warehouse guy is also planning for inventory, especially in the retail and distribution environment. But if you go to the manufacturing environment, the planning is done by the core planning team, whereas the warehouse guy doesn't plan for inventory, but the total responsibility comes on physical management. Okay, so how do you physically manage inventory depends upon so many things. Okay, especially when you have say 10,000 or 50,000 SKU, the challenge is higher than if you are handling say less than 1,000 components, or even maybe if you are dealing only with the packaged item where you are receiving it and then say, immediately dispatching it. That could be a very simple operation. Whereas if you go to the actual manufacturing environment, the things are totally different. Allow me to put the slide so that you will get a better idea. So the title, what we are seeing is on the challenges of the supply chain management, especially with respect to warehouse inventory management. This is a live in YouTube balloon. If you have any doubts, you are welcome to comment there, and you can get clarified. Before I dive into the session, let me briefly introduce myself. My name is Pattabhiraman. This is my LinkedIn profile. If you are not connected or following, you are welcome to do so. I am also available in Udemy. Going to the topic, where you maybe if you are in a warehouse or stores environment, you may be seeing a lot of trucks coming. Maybe it may be different in different environment. Possibly here you are seeing a neatly packed item being received in a dock kind of environment, where you cannot see the external environment. In India, it may not be so, except in e-commerce platform. Here, it's nightly arranged. Maybe it is easy to download. Possibly, you are going to use a pallet truck or forklift to download, and counting is also easy. They are also having barcode or similar item. So it all, the challenges depends upon where you are looking it. If it is this kind of a standard environment, everything may be fine. This is what may happen in a real distribution environment. The challenges are less, life may be very easy. Okay, we have seen everything is packed, comes with a clean barcode or something like that. Maybe you can see most of the time e-commerce platform, they received a packaged item with a barcode or RFID. At that stage, the receiving, counting, everything becomes very simple. Okay, though they are getting thousands of item in a day, when everything is organized, it is fine. Especially packaged product, if you talk about any e-commerce platform, everything is packed. Maybe they are also going to get along with the RFID. No touch process takes place there. But if you move to manufacturing environment, you may get wide variety of components Maybe they are packed sometime and not packed. On the left side you see expensive item, they may be copper, bronze, or silver kind of item which is used in the industrial application, and you may not have the facility to put a barcode or a RFID on each of the individual component. Maybe it is packed in terms of 100 or 500 or 1000 pieces, and over that there may be a possibility of putting a barcode scanner. Okay, let me see, I have to attach the screen here. So you can see on one side there is a expensive items. Okay, expensive items could be like this small item weighing less in terms of few gram, but they are very expensive. At the same time, there is no possibility of putting any barcode or RFID in this kind of small items. On the other hand, you may also experience item low value items, that's fine. But the challenge is when you have the items like on the left side of the image, and you are supposed to manage thousands of such items, then the challenge really comes. How do it starts from the receiving, how you are going to count this item, because the vendor is going to supply in a package or even a box. In that box it may be possible you may put all the sticker, all that is fine. But when someone says this package contains 1000 item, how do you individually count and ensure the quantity? This is where if everything is packed and individual items could be packed and identified, you have lot of data capture device starting from RFID or barcode, which may not be feasible in the unpacked condition which you have seen in the previous slide. Okay, so you cannot attach this for individual component. Possibly you are going to attach for the entire bunch or a box or a pallet. That's where the trouble starts for warehouse executive. Starting from there, how do you ensure the count? Because the first step in the warehouse process is you should ensure that invoice quantity and the supplied quantity matches. Okay, maybe if you are identifying in terms of a box 100 number or a packet 100 numbers, what is the guarantee that these two are matches, especially when these items are expensive? You can see some idea of a diamond cutting tips. Okay, each of these tips can be costly as 2.5 lakhs per piece. But there is no way you can identify or separately put a tag or a reader into each of this. We used to get in manufacturing industry hundreds of such pieces every day. So handling this kind of expensive, especially dual use item, is very dangerous. Because a supplier may be giving in a right quantity, you are receiving it, and finally it can go missing. And most of the industrial application you can see usage of copper or bronze. Though item looks very small, how do you count? A supplier is supplying 500 units and he is invoicing for 500 and putting neatly in a box and giving. How do you count this? It's not like a coin counter which is used in the banks, because here you have different shapes. And as of now, only some technology, non-contact technology is coming using artificial intelligence to count. Now the focus is count at this stage. If you are able to ensure that the supplied quantity is as per the invoice, it is fine. But we have problem here, we are not able to do that. And not only these kind of components, also we receive cables, wide variety of cable in manufacturing application, usually comes in a bobbin. Many times these are imported and also very expensive. There also you may see on the bobbins it says 500 meters and invoice says 500 meters. But what is the guarantee that it is 500 meters? It has happened many times. In my previous organization, we imported them from Germany or Switzerland, assuming that it is perfect 500 meters. But when we were consuming it, finally we had a problem. These were having minus 20 meters or minus 30 meters, and there is no possibility of you unwinding, measuring, because this is almost half a kilometer. And there are some measuring instrument where you can attach the start and finish end, and such kind of instrument have a high margin error. They were talking in terms of plus or minus 2%. 2% of 1,000 meter is 20 meters, and we cannot afford to lose 2% of that. So every such instances contributes to warehouse inaccuracy. Maybe sometime these cable come in 1,000 meters bobbin, which means it is 1 kilometer length. Unless you have some suitable measuring devices, you may not be able to measure the length of this cable. Okay, you can also see maybe plastics or rubber in a different formats. Maybe some are cheaper, some are expensive. I think you may also know about ABC classification. C class of item, which is less value, you can ignore. But if it is a or B where the value is high, you cannot just ignore. So you have to ensure the integrity of this stock. The problem is these are malleable, foldable, and no automatic counting is possible. We have been using many kinds of seals. Okay, and they are also the counting. You have to go by the vendor and say these as per invoice quantity. But we had many problems, especially, I am talking about import from German or Switzerland itself. We had a variation from the invoice quantity if you are depending upon local vendors. And these are necessarily unpacked product. Maybe they are putting in a box and giving it, but how do you ensure that the box quantity is as per the invoice quantity? Okay, you can see some more example of electronic items. Maybe each one of this I have seen it can go up to 500 rupees per piece. Okay, in such case you need to have a mechanism to count. And in warehouse you may also see that we are going to employ unskilled labor for doing this kind of a work, but finally end up in a problem. Why we are seeing all this is it's the first step in the any of the warehouse. I am not talking in a retail environment, but you will have all this kind of problem in a manufacturing environment. Different kind of raw material component entering into the facility, and if you want to ensure high inventory accuracy, then it should start at step number 1. Okay, but you should also differentiate item like nuts and bolts, which could be C class item, and there is a possibility you can weigh them and then convert to number of pieces, and that method is absolutely okay if the value of this item is fine. So you need to have some kind of a inventory a management policy in the warehouse. What kind of material are you are going to receive and account them, and what can be the inventory accuracy for such kind of item. For me, this kind of item, which is a C class item, yeah, a wide margin, say plus or minus 5% is okay. But A class expensive item, no tolerance is possible. B class maybe 2% tolerance is fine. but you need a policy approved by the management. Also, there are situations where we may receive liquid. Here also possibly you may be receiving in drums. Same problem happens here. Even somebody gives you 100 liters drum, how do you ensure that it is 100 liters? Okay, possibly here you can weigh and convey if the product is not expensive. There are also gaseous medium received. For example, we had a welding unit for which oxygen has to be supplied. So we used to take tons of oxygen. How do you measure and receive? Because finally, these are all part of inventory management. Here we are seeing various challenges in maintaining inventory accuracy level when you have these kind of different material. So in our coming session, we are going to see these different things, how we can handle them in a better way. Okay. There are also items like heavy plates, pipes, and tubes like this, where you need to physically weigh. Suppose if you are issuing or receiving it, there need to be a facility to weigh this kind of heavy item, which may run into several tons. So, any question, you are always welcome to reach to this WhatsApp number. We provide training and consulting in the supply chain domain. Thanks for watching. Have a nice evening. Bye.